Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to see one more transformation. That is a SQL transformation. Okay, so we'll first go through the basics as usual. What is SQL transformation? When to use? I'll tell you some real-time project scenario where it has been implemented, where I worked basically. So we'll go through those examples and then we'll check whether it's active or passive and why it is so. Okay. So basically, there are two types of mode in which SQL transformation works. So we'll see those modes, okay, when we are creating mapping. I'll explain you that as well. We'll create a sample mapping and run through that mapping, how to create a SQL transformation, how to use in the mapping, how to set the native data types, okay, how to create output port. So everything will go through while creating the mapping. And then finally, we'll come to the interview questions and answers. So just for the background, SQL transformation is one of the advanced transformation, okay? So in previous videos, we have covered expression, filter, router. So these are the basic transformation, you can say, joiner again, okay? These are some of the basic. But like SQL transformation, this is one of the advanced, like it is not most widely used. It depends on project to project and scenarios, okay? So luckily I got chance to work on SQL transformation in one of my project. Not one or two, three projects actually, but those are very less when it comes to in comparison with other transformations like basic transformations. Okay. So SQL we can call it as an advanced transformation. SQL is there, Java transformation, HTTP web service transformation is there. So these all are some advanced transformations. Okay. Normalizer is there. So let's start with the SQL transformation today. So SQL, as its name suggests, it is used for performing SQL operations, SQL query operations. Okay. So there might be a scenario where we actually have to use a SQL query. Okay. There are two ways where we can use SQL query in source qualifier, and another way is if you want to use a SQL query while running the mapping or your logic is embedded in the mapping itself, then you can go with the SQL transformation. Okay. So after source qualifier, if you want to use some SQLs to get some output from the database, so you can go with SQL transformation. You actually can write some SQL, simple SQL, complex SQLs and get the output. Okay. So when to use SQL transformation in real-time projects? So basically there are some transaction tables. Okay. Transactions, when I say transaction, the transactions are generally in millions of records. Okay. So in that case, you cannot go with the lookup. Okay, the problem with lookup is it will build the cache, it will store, and it will have some performance decrease scenarios. Okay, or it will impact performance. To avoid that, Informatica has provided us with this SQL query transformation. Okay, because what happens, Informatica will not process anything. It will just ask the database to run the query and provide the output. So your resources in Informatica will get saved and you will get a lot of performance boost when you run the query in the database itself, instead of having that complete logic built in the transformations. Okay, that is the reason why SQL transformation is very useful. Okay. Okay, so I'll just write it here, 1 million transactions to get from underlying table. Okay, if this kind of scenario is there, then you can definitely go with the SQL transformations. Then basically SQL transformation runs in two modes, okay, active and passive. So we'll say when we create the mapping. Okay, so these two modes are basically query mode and script mode. In this tutorial, we are going to see basically the query mode. Okay, how to use the query mode. This is one of the property we need to configure. How to configure and all we'll see when we create the mapping. Okay. So these are all the things we are going to discuss. Okay, while creating the mapping as well. And finally, we'll go through the interview questions. Okay, what are being asked. So let's go and create a mapping. Okay. So as usual, we'll create a fresh mapping. m_SQL node m. Okay. So for this tutorial, we'll again consider employees are as a source. So what basically we are going to do, like for this query, if you see, we are selecting department name from departments table. Okay. So basically the finance department name is coming. Okay, but now we'll apply this logic through SQL transformation. We'll pass the department ID from employees table. Okay, as we know, we have department ID in employees table. Fine. So for department ID 100, if some employee is working, Daniel, okay, so his department ID 100 is going to be the finance department. So this kind of join logic will implement in SQL transformation. Okay. So let us first bring the source. Source qualifier is created. Then go to transformation, create SQL. Okay. We'll give name SQL EMP DPT. Okay. Then create. So here I was talking about the two different modes. So query mode means we are going to pass the query inside the transformation. We have to manually write that query. Okay. In real-time scenario, you have to write the complete query. Maybe the query might be 1,000 lines, 300 lines, anything, whatever complex logic you want to implement, and then get the output from that query. So basically, this is a query mode. Script mode means you will create a sample file and you will write the statements. Which statements? The DDL and DML statements. Okay, script mode basically. We'll have a separate session, but just for overview, I'm giving this. Script mode, you will write DML, DDL, etc. statements. Okay, so mostly those are DML, like insert, update, and delete. But that will be part of your script. So whatever queries you are writing inside the script, those will get executed at the runtime. Okay. So we are going to select the query mode for now. Then we have to select the database type. There are numerous databases available. For us, it is Oracle. Okay. Then it is asking for specifying the connection. Since for this practice, we are going to use the static connection direct Oracle. Okay. There is another option called dynamic connection. So if you have created any connection object, you can provide the information, or you can provide the full connection information like your host, port, etc. Okay. In this case, we are going to use the static connection. SQL transformation will run in passive mode. Okay. If you select this option, it will run as a passive. Otherwise, by default, it is an active transformation. Okay. Then click on OK. Done. Bring it front of the source qualifier. You need to select all the ports, whichever you want. Okay. As an output also. So if you see, by default, it has created the SQL output ports. Okay. Now let's open the transformation. Go to SQL ports tab. Here, basically, the data type it has selected, these are from Informatica. But we have to pass the native type. So native type means what? Whatever the data type available in the Oracle for this particular table, for this column, we have to provide that. So employee ID is number. Okay. You can check here. Describe employees, employee ID is number. So most of them are varchar and number only. Okay. First name is, this is varchar 2. This is again varchar 2. Email is again varchar 2. Phone number is varchar 2. Hire date is date. Job ID is number. Salary is number again. Commission percent is number, but with precision and scale. Manager ID is number and department ID is number. Okay. Now add one more port here because we want the department name which is coming from the departments table. So whatever output we want, basically we have to create that port in a SQL outputs. Here is the option to create that. Click on it. You will get one more field. Rename that department underscore name. Okay. So data type is, for this one it is varchar 2. Okay. In the database. Now how to write the query? So here you will see one SQL query tab is there. Click on this arrow, you will get one window. Okay. What basically you can do, you can just go here and write a query. Okay. So here we manually given the 100 as a department ID, but we don't need to do that. Okay. Is equal to, go to this parameter binding option and just double click on department ID. Okay. The question mark and the column name will come here. So it is definitely, it is nothing but the your parameter binding. Okay. Just click on OK, then apply. Okay. So SQL transformation is ready to use. As usual, create the target SQL EMP DPT SQL output. Go to targets. Where is that SQL EMP DPT? Bring that. Edit. We'll have it as a flat file target. Delimit it. Save. Go to the mappings tab. Okay. Now link all the ports. If there are any errors, it will also show in SQL error output port. Okay. So we'll connect that as well and we'll see how it gets the output. Okay, there is one more thing actually. The precision is bigger actually. So we'll give some, in department table it is 30. Okay, if you see here. It's basically 30. Okay, department name is 30. So we'll give 30 here. Apply OK. So we will have to make a one change here. Okay, otherwise it will truncate the value. So where I have to go to targets, columns, make the change to 30. Okay. Go to mappings tab again. Select all the output ports above our inputs and below our output ports. Okay. Connect them. It is connected. Save the mapping. Go to the workflow manager, create the new workflow for this workflow SQL load EMP click on OK. Go to task developer, go to task create session s underscore SQL load underscore EMP DEPT. it will ask for your mapping. Okay. SQL load EMP. Let's check the mapping name once. SQL load EMP. Select this mapping, click on OK, done. Double click on it, go to mapping because we have to provide the path. Okay. One more important thing here, we have to provide the connection for this SQL transformation as it is going to get executed in database. So it will ask us, okay, what is the connection? So we have to choose the relational connection, Oracle source. Okay. So this Oracle source is nothing but our HR schema. Okay. In the first video, I have explained it. It is the HR schema from where our table data is coming. Okay. Then targets, we have to configure the target properties for the flat file. So info out is the folder. You can change the file name. I'll just make it SQL EMP DPT SQL outputs dot CSV. Okay. Save it. Bring the session, reusable session into the workflow manager canvas. Go to workflows, validate, Control S, it will save it. Right click, start workflow. Go to the monitor. Okay, it read 107 and return 107 rows. Let's go to the output files, refresh. This is the latest file, okay? Edit with notepad. So if you see the department names are coming over here. So we have not implemented any joiner or anything using a normal SQL query also. We are indirectly getting the data, okay? Through some, you can use subqueries or any complex queries also here. Okay. In real-time projects, basically very large queries are being used. So all the logic we can place it here, but make sure you are passing the input parameters or bind variables, you can say, which are nothing but our input ports. This is how you can create the SQL transformation. Now, if you look at this file, the first is comma. It means there are some values before it. Since we do not have any error, it is a blank. Okay. If we have any errors, then definitely we'll get the error come here. Okay. In this port basically, and you'll get it as an output file. The first column is going to be SQL error. So let's get back to the Excel sheet now. Okay. So till here we're good. We have loaded data using the SQL transformation. We have covered types of modes. Okay. Query mode and script mode, how it works. For script mode, we'll have a separate video as well. So what are the questions being asked? So basically, once you have completed all the basic questions on this transformation, like how it is used, what is the native data type. Okay, they will ask what are the native data types and Informatica data types. So native data types are nothing but your database data types. Okay, as we have chosen in the properties, whether it's an active or passive also. So it depends. If you configure it as passive, it will work as a passive transformation. Okay, but again, we have to check how many rows are getting returned. That property is also getting applied there. Then this is one of the advanced transformation. So where you can basically use, they might ask, okay, for experienced person, they might, why have you used SQL transformation in which scenarios? So you can basically tell the underlying table, we're having like millions of records. So instead of going for lookup, we have used SQL transformation because it was given us the performance boost. Since lookup will build the cache, it will consume a lot of memory to build the cache. So it was time consuming. So we have gone with the SQL transformation where we got performance boost as well, since the query was getting executed in the database itself. Okay. So mainly script mode, query mode, when to use, okay? Then how it is useful in performance wise, those things you can explain about the SQL transformation. I hope you liked this video. For any questions, please comment. Please subscribe my channel, like and share it among your friends. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.